what's up? But today it was spent a little time in the backyard, out in the back 40 there, working on the well house foundation. So I'm going to start getting back into that. I need to get that covered up before we start getting into the hot weather. All right, so I spent the afternoon out here, got 10 more bags of concrete and filled all the cores on the walls here, on these little knee walls. Hi. One of the primary rules of photography is not to stand with your back to the sun so that your shadow is in frame. So don't do that. So anyway, I got this little knee wall, 2 courses of 6-inch block, and today these are pinned about every, I guess there's 1 rod in every course of block, so every 16 inches or so there's a piece of 1/2-inch rebar that's pinned into the slab. And when I put these block in, I put some concrete around into the bottom course at every rebar place, so they're kind of anchored in. And today I put, there's 1 course of rebar that starts here and it goes all the way around to the other side, over to here. In fact, you can see it a little bit right there. Piece of rebar right there. And poured all the cores and poured that bond beam, and then I'll build a wall on top of that. So, and there's the pile of lumber from the old well house that was here. Not bad for March 16th. See? I don't know if you can see that. Anyway. So, what have we been working on the last couple of weeks? Some projects that we're starting to wrap up. We got the Farmall Cub that's just about painted. The only thing I got left to paint is the hood. I'll show you that in a second. And the wheels. Those wheels. Let's see. There's all the parts for the Ford 2.8 liter V6. I'll send these heads out to get valve jobs done and new valve seals put in. Maybe new guides, perhaps. I don't know. But I think I'm just going to re-ring that thing at the main bearings were in pretty good shape, but yeah, the rod bearings are toast. Check that out. I think it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like that, not like that. So I don't know. I haven't really looked real close at the crankshaft. That's what I was trying to say. To see if that needs to be turned or not. Hoping I can get away with just polishing it. Yep. So, and the Farmall needs a wiring harness yet, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with if I'm going to rebuild the battery box or get a new one. But there's the hood / gas tank. On a Farmall Cub, the hood is part of the gas tank. It's one piece. And these holes are access holes for the bearings on the generator. Those 2 holes line up with these little grease cups. You open them up, put a little bit of oil down in there, and that's what lubricates the bearings. Now, I rebuilt this and it has sealed bearings in it, so I probably don't have to do that anymore. But yeah, is what it is. But this epoxy primer, need to wet sand this yet, and probably put a couple more coats of sandable primer in it just to fill the sanding scratches. There's the 2.8. Cleaned her up pretty good. Okay. Yeah. So we're back. Like I said, I think this will mostly hone right out. It's pretty good glaze on there. I'll just throw a stone in there and hone the crap out of it, and put some fresh rings in it. Yeah. Solid lifters. So here's why I'm doing all this with the Ford. I couldn't in good faith just flip this thing and make a couple $100 or $100 with it in the shape that it was in. It wasn't safe. The U-joint on the drive shaft was junk. I think the clutch was, on the edge. The tires are completely rotten. But as far as the engine's concerned, I did get it running. I had a little bit of issue in the beginning with the starter, and I just made a little modification to the spring in the starter so that the solenoid could overcome that return spring pressure. Took one coil out of that return spring, and that solved the start issue. But the real problem with this engine, you pull a dipstick and it would just smell like the oil was so diluted with fuel. Is definitely something in the fuel system that was not kittywampus. And once I started looking into it, I think what was happening with the carburetor is that it was just dumping raw fuel right into the crankcase, diluting the oil. And I think that explains the rod bearings, and the bearings being completely worn down to the copper. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to eliminate all, I don't need to have the emissions. There's no emission testing in Nye County. I don't have to have it. So, fortunately, the older 1970s, equipment will fit right on this engine. Just get an older style carburetor and older style distributor and eliminate all the emission controls. That'll free up some horsepower. Should pep this thing up a little bit. So that's what we're going to do with the Bronco. And if it runs good enough, I might just keep it. So there. Get rid of the frickin' Suburban. That Suburban's turning out to be a money pit, man. That thing's a frickin' gasoline toilet. I mentioned back, when did I tear that thing down? October when I tore that thing down. And I mentioned back then that I wanted to do a timber frame building, but this whole mess with the Suburban and the transmission issues and the engine transplant, I think I kind of burned up my reserves. So I'm just going to do a regular stick frame that Wellhouse built. So that's what I've been doing, and this I don't want this to turn into a 20-minute diatribe of nonsense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these steaks off the grill, put them on a plate, cut them up and shove them down my neck. I'm going to turn this camera off. And I'm going to go and spend some more quality time with my family. And I encourage you to do the same. Don't spend so much time on YouTube. It's all well and good, but it's better entertainment than ABC, NBC, and CBS, but it, just like anything else, can become a distraction. So don't let it become a distraction. Okay? Alright. So until next time, rate, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a splendid day.